Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. Wildcard Weekend is almost complete. We still have one more matchup to go, but, we're just too eager. We got to start breaking down the action now. We're not going to wait for this Monday night game, but should be a good one considering how the other games have played out throughout Wildcard Weekend so far. Big guy, any just big overarching takeaways here to start the conversation that you're just like, yep, hey, just a great reminder, playoff football, at least for me, super violent, and all of your issues that you have in the regular season, they get amplified really quickly in playoff football.
No doubt. I would say this, we started everything with the college playoffs, which I was invested in, loved that. And then we walked right into it. And I thought it was overall, the wild card football was tremendous. It was great theater. And I had a hard time in that last game last night because those first two, they were exciting and all the things that went with it. And yeah, it was absolutely great. And you're right, Matt. It's almost, we were talking before we came on. Isn't it something, no matter what you do during the regular season, you can have a great one and all this stuff. And if you falter in the playoffs right away, everything is flipped.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of amazing that if you make the playoffs, you get no credit for your long season, what you've done so well. So yeah, I find that kind of tough. I feel bad for the players and coaches. That's the way it's judged.
Yeah.
And that's why you and I are doing this, to talk about it a little.
That's right. That's right. And you're right too. You can have such a phenomenal year, and just in within 3 hours, of course, how you view just all the success that you've had and the battles that you've gone through,
right?
It gets wiped away immediately. So that is the unfortunate part about being in the NFL and playoff football, and just the hopes that you have going into Wild Card Weekend. And as Sean Payton would say, having one less sword fight by being the number one team in the conference is a beneficial thing for anybody. So let's start the breakdown here.
Yes.
With the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars down there in Duval. This game had a little bit of everything. I think it's safe to say, that Josh Allen is just that guy. He's just that guy, pal. All right, he really is. But big guy, just your thoughts about this football game. What is the most glaring takeaway, in your opinion, from this game after watching it?
Oh, I don't know if I have I guess my glaring takeaway all during the game, I go, is Josh Allen, is he that relaxed? Is he enjoying it this much? This is not right.
Right.
And I really kind of said it. He's just playing the game, taking no chances, knowing what he's doing. And I thought for the whole Buffalo team, even the coaches and the players, the body language was always good. And it felt like they were relaxing and going, let's just keep it going here. We're going to get them, and it's going to happen and all that. And I really felt that with quite a few people sitting there in our TV room, Matt. You weren't. You had to leave early, but that's okay. And that was the feeling we all had. Buffalo is going to find a way to win this game. And it really, I hate doing this, and you know it too, that it was about the quarterback, and it was Josh Allen. Just every play that was there, he made, and the coaching and how they managed the game, I thought was really good too. Those thoughts were in my head as the game was going on.
All right, so we're going to fast forward here just a little bit, just to talk or to go more in depth about the management aspect of it. They're the Buffalo Bills after the tush push, or the Buffalo push, right? Where essentially they picked up Josh Allen, lifted him up off the ground, and then walked him essentially to the 1 yard line, almost scoring on the play. Would you have liked to have seen Buffalo in that situation with just over a minute left do something different as far as the management of time? Or are you okay with them going for the QB, getting the lead, and then just, hey, defense, it's up to you. Finish the job now?
Good question. Room full of football people with me, and they were saying that to a degree. And I said, no, don't take that chance.
Yeah.
These things don't always work. Go get it now and then try to win it with your defense or whatever.
Right.
So that was my thought first and foremost. And I'm not going to change it because it's kind of been a little bit of talk, not a lot, but no, I agree. When you got a chance to get a touchdown, don't delay it by a game or one play. Because how many times have we seen somebody shooting a gap or all this, whatever, and everything, instead of running it up the middle for a 1-yard touchdown, you lose 2 yards.
Right.
So so what about you? Did you think they should have given up a play to kill the clock a little more?
I can totally understand where people are coming from with maybe managing in a different way. Even Bob Papa and I, when we discussed it, he was saying, I wouldn't have mind them taking a knee and then letting some clock run and then running the quarterback sneak and all. And I said, it's a great idea. I love it in theory. It sounds lovely. And a lot of it is based off of the fear of how games have ended for Buffalo in the past. And, for me, it's kind of like, don't get stuck with how you fell short before. Like, what do we need to do right now here in this moment? For me, it was score the touchdown. Jacksonville has been on and off and hasn't really gotten to a great rhythm all day. I felt like they covered them well. They were getting some good pressure as the game continued to wear on.
Yes.
Rely on your defense and let them do their job, right? And let the defense finish one out for Josh Allen and what he did leading up to that moment of the game. So,
well, Matt,
I don't question it whatsoever. Yeah.
I'm sorry to jump on you there. Yeah, they got it. They relied on the defense, and bing, it happened quick.
Bing, bang, boom. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, bing, bang, boom. But yeah, that was it. And the Bills, and I really felt the strategy, even the play. It's funny, I didn't really get into watching and going, oh, who's going to win and all that. I just felt like Buffalo looked, I know this is terrible. I'm terrible to say. It looked easier for Buffalo. I felt like every time Jacksonville got the ball, whatever, it was just work to get first downs and to get plays. And, they didn't play their best game. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Yeah.
So you know what? A lot of teams don't play their best game or anything in a playoff, and they find ways to win. Well, Jacksonville was just up against a team that had all that in their back pocket. Like I said, the calmness, the way they directed the game and managed it, really, really good. And I'm a nitpicker when it comes to managing games. I immediately always write down when it's a big decision, I agree, just to document it and go with it. So
right.
Buffalo, just overall, the different people that contributed to what they were doing. And everything just seemed, like I said, it just seemed like they were always kind of in control and they were going to win the game. And then, you got to look at Trevor Lawrence and, Liam Cohen, just to go, okay, this is different. Mm-hmm. Them in this game, I thought overall, Jacksonville, you don't hang your heads. You had a great year and you fought one of the better teams in the NFL right down to the wire.
And, it's interesting because I totally agree with you in this sense. And another game that I had the same feeling with the Chargers-Patriots game. Although it was close, never really felt like I really believed that the Chargers had any chance of winning the football game. And I kind of felt that way too as this game progressed, even when there were some great moments and the touchdown to Trevor Etienne there in the flat by Trevor Lawrence. I was thinking, okay, but I still never was like, yeah, they got this. And it's strange to think that. It's almost like the Jaguars were like Ivan Drago and Rocky IV in this one. Yeah. They were just punching and they're just trying to throw the haymaker and knock them out. And, the Buffalo Bills were like Rocky. They were just like, you couldn't knock them down and keep them down. They showed their toughness and grit throughout the game. I think Sean McDermott did a phenomenal job with the defensive preparation. You could see in multiple drop back situations that Trevor Lawrence wanted to play in rhythm, wanted to play a little bit faster, didn't quite trust what he was seeing. Right. And you could see those moments where he was like, oh, I'm not going to pull the trigger. I'm going to move on or, try to make something else outside the pocket. But I think Coach McDermott did a phenomenal job with the mixtures of pressures. The left side of the Jacksonville offensive line, as the game progressed, seemed to have some really tough challenges protecting Trevor Lawrence in critical situations. And you're right. I think Trevor Lawrence really struggled to really get into any sort of rhythm offensively.
Never did.
And, Josh Allen, I think, didn't force his way into rhythm, just kind of kept plodding along. And we got to see just playoff football experience versus the excitement and youth aspect of it. And this was a great example of it because the better team on paper is the Jaguars, but the more experienced, tougher, battle-tested team is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, a couple things. Josh Allen, 28 of 35. Come on, that's ridiculous. 80%, one touchdown throwing, had 33 yards rushing. I would say this about Jacksonville, and I'm not second guessing because as the group that was there, we're talking. And when you got the ball and you're going to go down and try to win the game or whatever, you start out the drive even with an easy completion, a play that we know that we're going to get some positive yards. But the big thing is, and this is from experience, as a quarterback, you got 4 downs. So, Trevor Lawrence took a chance, and that chance backfired because it got tipped up in the air and we got an interception. So that first play, hey, maybe there's a window and it's open or whatever, but if it takes one of my really good throws and special throws, that's not going to happen. It's
well, what he did on the play, right? He's trying to hit Jacoby Myers on an in cut on the backside, right?
Right.
He has a strong side read over here, and he's to his left side. He's trying to look off, I think, the underneath defender to the left, and he hits his back foot, takes one hitch, and just turns and throws the in cut. Right. And I don't know if he really saw just how good of a coverage it was by Tre'Davious White in that situation, because he was trying to play with maybe a little bit more of an anticipatory or predetermined thought, right, with this play design.
Right.
So he looked left, he hit his back foot, one hitch, boom, he throws. Tre'Davious White essentially runs the route for Jacoby Myers. And that's another thing, too, that was pretty interesting, I thought, about this game, big guy, right? I thought that the Jaguars really struggled to separate in moments of this game against the Buffalo Bills. I thought they'd be able to create more separation.
Right.
But reminder for everybody at home, the refs let the DBs and the receivers have a little bit more hand-to-hand combat. We saw it in all of the games where typically in the regular season, those things are penalties. In the playoffs, they're not. And I think that really played favorably into the hands of Buffalo, too, with just some of their rerouting things and what they were able to do underneath.
Yeah, really good point. Once it was over, I went, wow, it's like going back in time. Tre'Davious White making the play. What
He
can
was
you
all
say?
over it.
Yeah, and I mean, just can you say it? It was years ago. He was in Buffalo. He was the man.
Right.
And he was killing it one-on-one. Yeah, you get your guy over there, little Deion Sanders. You cover him because we're going to do this with the rest of the defense. So, yeah, that was a really good play by him. Great learning experience for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, when you talk about playoffs and learning experiences and all that, Matt,
yeah,
it's we shouldn't be saying this. I mean, because next year's a whole new year, all the work in the off seasons, everything, and playing all the games to get back in this spot one more time. So when you get in them, it is the truth. You got to find a way to advance, and the Buffalo Bills did it. They're very, really, really impressive, I thought, by the Buffalo Bills overall.
Agree. And it's amazing too that, Gabe Davis leads the football game with a severe knee injury.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir came up in huge situations. Brandon Cooks came up in a big situation. Keon Coleman made one big catch for 36 yards. Dawson Knox for 3 for 30. Dalton Kincaid 3 for 28. So it was just a mixture of a little of everything because the number 1 rush defense did a great job of stopping James Cook in their rushing attack.
Right.
So you can see that the Jaguars are saying, we're going to make Josh Allen beat us because we're going to take James Cook out of the game. And unfortunately for Anthony Campanelli and the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's exactly what happened, right? Josh Allen did defeat you basically single-handedly by himself. And his throw there at the end of Brandon Cooks there, where the corner for Jacksonville thinks that he's going to intercept the outbreaking route by Josh Allen because there's a free runner at him. He knows that he's about to be sacked. He hesitates, thinking that he's about to go get the interception, and then Josh Allen throws a 40-yard dime over his head for the biggest completion of the game that ultimately leads to the game-leading touchdown play. Excuse me.
I'm not even going to say anything. Everything you just said was the discussion right after it happened of all of us watching, and I said it right away too. That's hey, to win playoff games, you need a special player to make special plays most of the time, and the Buffalo had it. It was so this will be interesting to see what happens to them in the next round. Can they play with that calm confidence? And of course, it looks that way when you're making the plays that you want. But so there was no pressing the issue. and they were willing to play that thing for 60 minutes, and it worked out great for Buffalo.
Yeah, and Shaq Thompson, with the interception there in the game, did a great job. And of course, just playing for another team and another group that has been injury-ridden the entire season. They're able to overcome it and to win the football game 27-24 down there in Jacksonville. Congratulations to Jacksonville Jaguars on a super successful season, especially for their first-year head coach, Liam Cohen. Really excited for him and Trevor Lawrence going forward. Right. Learned a lot about them. And it was nice to see that Jacksonville Jaguar fans actually showed up for a home game finally. It only took the wild card for them to actually get excited about their team or to take notice that they're a good team. So little shot at you, Jacksonville Jaguar fans. It started to appreciate your football team and what they're doing. But either way, what a game. Let's switch it up now. This is Sims Complete on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. We're now going to go to the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears matchup. The Green Bay Packers lost this matchup 27-31 to the Chicago Bears down there, or in Soldier Field there in Chicago. Big Guy, this game was just as wild in a lot of different ways. It seemed like Ben Johnson was trying to hand Matt LaFleur the victory there, especially in the first half with some of his decisions to go for it on fourth down and all of that. Right. That was the theme, I think, of the weekend too. Head coaches trying to lose their jobs, even if they're in their first year of their responsibilities, with some of their decisions to go for it on fourth down.
About Chicago and the game. You're right. This going forward on fourth down drives me nuts. And and I know I've said this before, but it's been a long time. There's nothing like, especially when you're in a scoring zone, to kick a field goal and go up 3-0.
Yeah.
Now, as I learned from the great Bill Parcells, at least we're on the board. There's a sense of satisfaction. I was there many times. We kicked the field goal. I was like, okay, we got 3. Should have had 7, but we got 3. And, back then, nobody was going for it on 4th and 4 and all that crap that we see now. But make the other team chase. You feel good. And then now you got something to build on. But before I even get into all that, the Caleb Williams, his completion, Matt, I'm sorry. It's terrible. He only completed 50% of his passes. I mean, he's just got to be more accurate and all this crap. And let me tell you, that's what it is. Now today, everybody's treated Caleb wrong on the TV. I hear that on TV. My ass. They are the ones that did it. His completion percentage, he's got to fix it. When you're throwing the damn ball 30 and 40 yards down the field, it seems like every play, you know what? You're not going to hit 70%. But I will say this, me. I watched that damn game over. Let's see. Caleb Williams, really good plays. I counted 25 of them. He threw the ball away only 6 times in the game, Matt, because, they were doing a good job of getting open, and the scheme and the play calls were great. And the last one was what? Well, there was nothing where he could really even try to complete the pass. There was 4 or 5 of those. But the throwing exhibition that he put on in that game, I don't know what to say. I don't want to go overboard, but it might be the best I've ever seen in a football game. It was literally incredible. So many big throws down the field. And, I'll just give you a thing, how I did it. Well, the jump pass that he threw that one time for 35 yards, he jumped in the air and made the play. But
the one to Jerome Dunze, you're saying, when he's running to his left?
Yeah, down the left sideline. Yeah. I mean, that was ridiculous. And think about Green Bay's defense real quick. How would you like to rush him 40-some times a game with that mobility and that size and that arm and everything else?
Right.
I mean, so they make the defensive line almost like, well, we don't even care about you because you'll be tired after these next 3 plays. But that was, and Caleb too, he's never going to be a 65 to, well, he might be 70% guy, because if he has a window down the field, he's going to take it. It's just amazing how many footballs go 30 yards and 40 yards down the field by them. But his aggressiveness, and this is no understatement, his accuracy was unbelievable in the game.
Yeah,
it really was. So that's a few things. Got a little bit off my chest, not as much as I'd like to, but yeah, when we said this, I'm going to say it one more time again. Before the year and even during the year, we said if you redrafted the quarterbacks, I'm not, trying to say we're smart at this, but we would still, both of us would still take Caleb Williams #1 in the draft. And
Yeah.
I thought that before the season, during the season, and man, God forbid, let a young quarterback get a little thought about what the NFL is before we start criticizing and Chicago probably going to have to draft another quarterback. I actually said that somewhere during the year, but whatever, man, because that was kind of the talk by people. But so Caleb Williams was great. The head coach did a great job. The players around him, everything. It was a terrific offense performance by Chicago.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the head coach did a great job, but I know what you're saying. The head coach, gave his quarterback the opportunity to win the game late. And I would say the one reservation I would say with Caleb Williams' performance, right, is that I like the fact that he threw the football away. You're right. I don't care about the completion percentage and all that like some others do. And that's just stat watching a little bit. When you watch the game, he's the best player on the field. And that's all that really matters. And that's even when Jordan Love maybe plays his best game of his career.
Played really well. Yes.
Like he played the best that I think I've ever seen him play as far as his accuracy, driving the football in critical moments, playing aggressively and throwing it over the middle in big time throws. But still, all that being said, the talent of Caleb Williams still shine through as like the prettiest penny on the field. And that's the biggest takeaway is that once again, a lot of people are maybe saying that, well, Ben Johnson's really helped out Caleb. I actually think it's the opposite in a lot of ways. I think Caleb Williams has really showed Ben Johnson, like, I keep saving your ass and you need to do a little bit better job. Now, given that, the young QB, I thought in multiple times, right, maybe playing a little too aggressive and there's opportunities for underneath throws and he's hanging on to the ball. So that's something that just like it was his pro and con coming out of college, and I think that popped up in a few occasions in this game. And luckily, Green Bay's just lack of pass rush at times throughout this game, really played pretty big dividends. But again, his athleticism, move out of danger a lot of times too, also saved him in critical moments.
Well, yeah, Green Bay couldn't get pressure just because of the amount of throws, him moving, and how many times can you rush the passer? And you're right there. I did see that too, and I wrote it down. I had 5 plays where Caleb Williams, he completed some, but he should have thrown it to the underneath guy who was wide open, going to gain 10 or 15 yards.
Right.
But he said, nah, hell, I'm going to rip one.
The best thing, though, that Green Bay did, I think Jeff Hafley did a really good job of preparing his defense for those 4th down plays, even some of the goal line concepts as well. The obvious choice would have been, all right, let's run the football here. But he kind of knew that, like, no, that's too easy for Ben Johnson. He's just not going to line it up and just run you over. So I think the Green Bay Packers were very, very cued in on just like, yeah, let's play the play, but let's also remember that the play is just a distraction for maybe some of his other trick plays, because he tried to do the little tight end hide play where they fake the inside zone, have the tight end run out the back door, the opposite side. Green Bay Packers were all over that stuff. So I thought Jeff Hafley, although they gave up a lot of yards in this game, I think he did a good job of coaching the situational football very well against Ben Johnson in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Hafley must just be going, Jesus, we were all over so many things, but we got nothing out of it because of the talent and the throwing.
Yeah.
And it's but again, you said something was very good. As I was watching the game over, I just went, wow, Jordan Love. When he got the ball at the end of the game, I said, well, he's going to get it done. Right. And it just took everything out of his power that he didn't get it done. But what was his final numbers were 24 of 48, 323, 4 touchdowns. I mean, and you're right. He played a different game than I've seen all year.
Romeo Dobbs was awesome. Matthew Golden came up clutch for them.
How about that?
Yeah. Jaden Reed, man, he played a damn good game, except for that one drop, which was a huge play down that left sideline, a deep cross, right? That was a big drop in that football game. But, man, he played awesome. And think about this too, big guy. Think about Christian Watson and how close he was to fumbling out of the end zone when he's somersaulting in for the touchdown.
Yeah.
So there were some close calls, even that Green Bay survived themselves, their fumbles and some of the things that they had. This game really kind of had it all. It's pretty wild.
You know what? The coaches, you saw the handshake. It's been all 3 games where the coach's handshake was the same. That seems to be a big deal here, but I really don't care about that.
I like it. I mean, we're okay. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like in today's football, it's like, yeah, it's like, no, we're not cool. I don't like you. All right.
Right.
Like, I'm going to kick your team's ass. And I
Right.
appreciate that these two guys kind of play into that.
Yeah, and of course, every time they play, this is all going to come up, and it might be the handshakes will be the first thing they all talk about.
Right.
And we had a coach once, and I've said this story before. We walked across the field. We really beat a team really bad, and the other coach shook hands with Bill Parcells. He said, "You ran the score up on me." And Parcells, somehow I was there next to him or whatever. He turns to me and goes, "Is it my job to coach his team now?" And so it was a great, because he was mad as hell that the coach said it to him. Coach got fired a couple of days later, but yeah, it is a great rivalry. All the games have been exciting. I mean, really exciting stuff coming down to the very, very end. And Caleb Williams, he was the difference in the game, and we got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, absolutely do. And of course, Colston Loveland was absolutely phenomenal in this game. DJ Moore made some big time catches. For whatever reason, though, it seemed like DJ Moore had trouble like seeing the football on two of his catches. One almost caught the back end of it, and the other one, it almost like it caught him by surprise. Maybe Caleb Williams just threw it that damn hard or what. Luther Burden definitely struggled in his first playoff opportunity. You could see even on the one interception, didn't know where to line up pre-snap. Then they send him in motion. You could see as he's kind of getting set, he's like unsure of himself. You know, that would have been a perfect time for Ben Johnson to call a timeout and just be like, hey, this looks ugly. A veteran quarterback would have called a timeout in that situation, right? When you're kind of telling your receiver what to do. But hey, they survived, they advanced. Don't know how much more of a deeper run this team can make. The defense is definitely very concerning overall. I mean, Dennis Allen, man, can you play any more vanilla coverages for Jordan Love to just absolutely dissect? We got to do something, right, to mix up and to confuse these quarterbacks going forward, because you got old man Rivers here coming up here next week for them. And let's transition now to that game. This is Sims Complete on the Believe Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. And we got the Rams and the Carolina Panthers. All this was the first game of the weekend's matchup, right? Because it seemed like so long ago. We started with some of the other games, but the Rams survived 34-31. This was probably the oddest game of the year for the Los Angeles Rams, other than the first time that they played the Carolina Panthers. So 2 times in a row, the Carolina Panthers really made the Rams, I don't know, just look kind of uneasy the entire time. And I think it just goes to a credit of just their defense. The Carolina Panthers is a hell of a group that, you know, although statistically it doesn't look like they had a good day, I think overall they did a really good job of just slowing down the Rams, playing physical in the trenches, making them earn every yard in the running game, and forcing Matt Stafford again into just a very, you know, average-like game for the majority of it until critical moments late.
No doubt. That's what it was. It was a strange game. I was like, man, this is almost like the Twilight Zone watching this. It really was. You know, there's the Rams that go, well, okay, I think they're going to blow them out. And then you're right, Matthew Stafford, the numbers look pretty good. I don't even know if I wrote them down.
He finished for 304, 3 touchdowns and an interception. He was 24 of 42.
Right.
But still just was not in rhythm, it seemed like, the entire day with this matchup.
No, the ball got away from him a few times. I know he kind of cranked his hand up a little bit. That's always a thing. He was going against the defense. And, man, you know, I'll give Carolina some credit. Their coverage down the field at times was spectacular. There was nowhere to go with the football. And you think about the game, and one of the first things that comes to my mind is Puka Nacua. Many things. Damn, is he tough. I mean, he's a wide receiver that he plays like a fullback almost.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I made some comparisons. I won't bring them up here on here. I can't only did that with a few people around me, but it's funny watching him play, how physical he is, how tough he is, and how talented he is, and breaking up that pass that might have lost the game for the Los Angeles Rams. That was incredible. Yeah. And then Matt Stafford, did you see? I'm sure you saw. Who said it about him? Talked about him. He said, "Well, let's go out there and just tear their hearts out." God, who said that about Matthew Stafford?
I have no idea.
One of the Rams. Well, I don't know if it was a wide receiver. I can't remember. Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Damn, it finally came to me. He said that, I guess, before they went out there to win the game on that drive. He goes, let's go out there and just rip their hearts out. And Devontae Adams goes, wow, that was cool. I don't know. It was an interesting game. Many things to say. Stafford, has to play better as they go through the playoffs, even though the numbers ended up being pretty good.
Yeah.
And the Carolina Panthers, I give them a lot of credit. Bryce Young, I thought overall, you'd have to be happy with the way he played in a playoff game.
Agree.
You can see the Carolina Panthers are going to be next year, just a little more spice to that team, a few more players, and they're going to be tough.
Yeah.
And it's amazing where they've come from the middle of last year, where I just go, this team's a disaster, and the quarterback's never going to make it until what they are right now. So I give them a lot of credit. The Rams got to clean it up, and it's amazing too. Last thing here, just for me, the Rams, Matthew Stafford has to play well. That's how they win. The quarterback, I mean, you know what I mean? And it wasn't his best, but when it counted, he made all the right reads and the right throws at the proper time. And it was really good. Like Parkinson, just to watch him play. I've really never watched him closely, Matt. I know you have, but just the catch, the route to kind of win it, that was pretty impressive, knowing you got another player who can make a big play to win a game for you.
Yeah, I think that was really maybe the best throw and catch, right, of the weekend outside of Caleb Williams' play to Roma Dunze.
Right.
I would say that those were probably the two best throw and catches of the day. And then, of course, Josh Allen to Brandon Cooks, right? So those would be my top three. And maybe Drake May right there at number 4 with his touchdown pass to Hunter Henry as he's drifting to his left and throwing it over Derwin James. But, for the LA Rams, two things that pop up. And, a lot of times, like, people throw around third down stats and it's like, oh, they were only 7 of 15 on third down. It's like, no, that's actually pretty good. But the problem is for the Rams is that they really were awful on third down. They were 3 of 13. So that has to improve, right? The penalties, 9 for 83 yards. And a lot of them were on the offensive line and pre-snap penalties too. And it's just like, just kind of surprised to see that from a team that, usually is well prepared and, least penalized offense really in the NFL in the past 5 years, I think is what Greg Olson said. Like, you just don't expect to see them with those type of blunders, especially to start the playoffs. And then, of course, I know the defense has talent. I know that they can get after the passer at times, but I think, Big Eye, you can kind of see my concerns a little bit with Shula and his defense, where I just think that there's times where it's kind of easy for them to get picked apart, right, in the passing game. I mean, Jalen Coker was absolutely cooking them up in this football game. And, that's one thing that I get a little concerned with overall for the Rams and just kind of their style of play, especially defensively, where, Jalen Coker and Tetero McMillan had a really efficient day through the air. And, they did a good job of slowing down the rushing attack by the Carolina Panthers. But, when your Bryce Young's cutting you up, I feel like that's a little concerning, because I have faith in the young man and I know he's come through a lot and he's done well, but still, like, just not enough pressure on the quarterback, I feel like, in critical moments as far as making him uneasy with his decision-making.
You're right. Too safe. Oh, let's play safe. Oh, my gosh, you play safe in the NFL. These pro quarterbacks are going to tear it up. They're going to, nobody's open. Let me get 6.
Right.
And it's I would be yelling at the TV before the ball was snapped. Oh my God, they're just going to give it to them.
Right.
And it wasn't just the Rams. I see it a lot. The Chargers, they do it too. I don't want to get into that game yet, but the Rams, it's 3rd and 12. Well, let's back up and start at the 12-yard mark from the line of scrimmage. Then on the snap, let's retreat. I saw that so much, and I yelled at the TV on just about every game. Why would you go where the first down marker is, and then when the ball snapped, you go backwards, make it bigger? It's easy to sit on the couch for me and to second guess play calling and play design, but man, that really it bothers me. And I thought the Rams, you said it right, to play defense on a conservative way as we go on. These are good teams; they can pick it apart. Your quarterback can. And so, it's going to be interesting. And Matt Stafford, I do believe this too. He's got to play, and he will. He's got to play much better because he is the key for them. They're one of the biggest keys, as all quarterbacks, but for him more than other teams. If he plays a really bad game where he doesn't get it done or whatever, of course, they're going to lose. There's a few teams in the playoffs can overcome the quarterback if it comes to that.
Yeah. Agree. So let's switch it up now to the next game that we'll be breaking down. And that is a team that really was not concerned at all and was just sending the just unbelievable blitzes one after another as the game continued to progress. That's the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Patriots win this football game 16-3 over the Chargers at home. And this was the exact opposite, right? They couldn't blitz Justin Herbert enough. As the game continued to go on, they were just like, yeah, they can't do anything about it. They have no answer for it. The offensive line, it was kind of funny because Chris Collinsworth was like, the offensive line's doing pretty good. And it was like, as soon as he said that, the offensive line just started to absolutely implode. And I thought it was very misleading too. I wasn't really sure which game he was watching because I did not have the same sentiment as I was watching the game as he did about the offensive line. Couldn't run the football for crap, right? Couldn't get any push at all. You're dropping back to pass and the offensive line's doing well in 3-man rushes, but that's because everyone in the back is covered extremely well. And then they're doing a great job of converging, on every single throw that was made. And, again, it goes back to just for the Chargers, man, there's just not enough offensive talent. And Justin Herbert, of course, people I think are very critical of him today. But the truth is that just like with Brandon Staley and now with Coach Harbaugh, he took a team to the playoffs that really probably isn't even a caliber playoff football team on the offensive side of the ball. Defense played great. I think that the Chargers defense really played a phenomenal game. But, man, the offense, we're fans of Greg Roman. But, damn, that was about as bad as it gets as far as just preparation and putting your team in a position to succeed in this one.
It's like if you're the Chargers, and I'll say to Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, did you think, was it that you were going to really hold up and pass? So in other words, they couldn't run, they couldn't pass protect, and nobody really got open down the field. Okay, besides that, it was really good.
Yeah.
And
here's a great example, right, Big Eye? The game is 6-3, right? It's 6-3. When the score was 6-3, did you ever think the Chargers had a chance to win the game?
No.
Right? That's
unless I start seeing things that I haven't seen already.
Unless the strip sack by Odafe Owe was actually recovered by the Chargers defender that was right there, and he took it to the house. Other than that, I felt like there was no opportunity for the Chargers at all to move the football against this defense.
It was so lopsided that I just go, wow, what are you doing to your quarterback?
Yeah.
And, there's things I want to talk about New England too, but we didn't have any block it up schemes. We didn't have any movement by the quarterback, like design movements so he could get a few seconds to throw a rocket shot down the field, which he can. And, and I'll say this about Justin Herbert. Sometimes you just got to drop back and get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
He held it because people were not open. I can't wait to watch the game again. Then I'll really be smart. But nobody was separating right away. There was no easy throws in the game. And you know what happens in any sporting event? Once the opponent has success and sees it and feels good, it just gets worse.
Right.
Now they believe in everything they're calling and doing. And the Chargers, the offensive line has been an issue all year long. I know they tried to make it what it is. They got injuries. I know that too. But the game plan was not good. And you saw Jim Harbaugh wasn't anything, but he goes, we're going to look at everything, because one of the questions that came at him was about Greg Roman. And you're right. We've been great fans of his for many, many years, wherever he's been.
Yeah.
But, man,
he's a hell of a coach. He's a hell of a coach. And it's a great sign. You could be a great coach and have bad days as a coach too. And yesterday was one of them.
Yeah, and it's hard this way, but they don't have, which I think you should have in your offense regardless. If things go south like that, we can do these things, because these things will be available to us in any game where it goes south, which it will. My gosh, can we keep the tight end, the running backs, whatever, to help pass block? And I'll tell you, the one thing Chris Collinsworth did say that caught my attention, and he was right. Take him out of the game. Damn, this thing's over. You're not going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And the hits, that might be as rough as
the two hits
quarterback.
Yeah, the 2 hits at the end of the game. The one was borderline. It almost gave me a little flashback of when Christopher lost his spleen to the Carolina Panthers because he just got hit right there, like in his breastplate essentially. And I was just like, man, like those are the shots where like it's devastating, right? It's just absolutely deflating. And yeah, that's where it was just a great indicator, I think, of just that, like, New England had no concern whatsoever about being, reprimanded, right, for how aggressive they were playing defensively. And they're just like, yeah, do it again. Who cares? They're not going to break a tackle and run for a touchdown. And if they do, we'll catch them because they're not even that fast. And that's like for the Chargers. Yes, they upgraded the offensive line. Of course, the 2 injuries, they didn't survive to the playoffs, right? Your quarterback does. But now it is time. Like now, you got to make some severe changes offensively. You can't just win with toughness is grit. It's not the Big Ten. It's not Michigan, and you got to be super creative because on paper, the Patriots are the better team. Just like in the Niners matchup against the Eagles are the better team on paper. But what's the difference? Coaching. Right. So for the Chargers, that's the thing. They got to do a little bit better in just creating opportunities for their quarterback because you're right, Big Eye. They're setting a precedent with Justin Herbert now, or a narrative where, again, it's not true. It's not true. It's not like, he's playoff football. He just can't get it done. Bullshit. He can get it done. And again, he's carrying a team that probably wouldn't have been in the playoffs in the first place if he wasn't out there with a broken hand and 7 concussions and a high ankle sprain and all this. But yeah, he's got to carry the team, so just a little frustrating for me because I know it's just so much more than just, he looks out of sync. Yeah, because the offense is poorly constructed. They can't run the football for damn. And yeah, he's got to find Ladd McConkey in that one-on-one situation there versus Christian Gonzalez all the time. It's just like, come on, man. What are we talking about?
And that you're out of sync. I mean, what do you mean he's out of sync?
They're getting their ass kicked. That's what's happening.
Well, yeah. Were there guys wide open and he missed them or anything? Or he, whatever.
I would say that he missed one throw in the football game, and it was a very difficult throw to make. I mean, it's just like he was rolling to his left and he tried to throw the wheel up the top of the sideline. And it's like he underthrew it. Could have thrown it underneath, could have let him, but it's just like, that's the thing. There was no point in the game where you thought that, here's the rhythm. Here it comes. And how about this? This is the one, too, that's really glaring. The 2 times that they sub their receivers out.
Yes.
And it takes a whole minute off the clock.
Yes.
Right? About 1:30, actually, it seemed like.
Well done by New England.
And you're exactly right, because this is the genius of Vrabel, knowing the situation. They sub. Okay, great. We sub. Hey, guys, slow down. Stop running. They were the opposite of Nick Sirianni. He was like, don't run off the field. Take your time. Force the refs to rush you off.
Right.
So that was just another thing, a small thing, but just like you kind of got beat in every single category you can get beat in. And that being said, the final score was still just 16-3.
Well, let me say this. I give a lot of credit to New England. Once they smelled a little bit of that blood, they were ferocious.
Yeah, right.
And the pass rush, the hitting, the coverage, on the offensive side, the Chargers, they got a pretty good defense. And I thought,
they played great.
Yeah, I don't even know I didn't even write it down. What the numbers were for Drake May. But I just know I always had the feeling like he's so in control, and if it's there, he's going to hit it.
Right.
And 2 things came about me: how big he is once again on the field. He plays bigger than even his height and weight or whatever. His running ability it's really good.
Yeah.
And he makes every throw, no matter what. If it's 40 yards or 5 yards, he makes it look easy.
Yeah.
And I think he's extremely accurate throwing the football, and he's very accurate throwing it down the field. So, man, the quarterback, he didn't get hit much. I didn't even pay attention.
Well, that's what's weird, though, too. He got sacked 5 times in this football game, but yet we walk away from the game not feeling that same type of like,
oh, no,
he was under duress the same way that Justin Herbert was, who was sacked 6 times in this football game, pressured about 20 out of his 31 dropbacks. But for Drake May, had 2 fumbles, right? Had the interception, of course, early on in the game. You got to think if the Chargers score a touchdown there or at least take the points, maybe that changes a little bit of the vibe of the game, right? Missed opportunity
another
there
one.
early.
Hey, 4th down. What the hell we doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to go for it at the beginning of the game, kick a field goal. Let's say 3-0.
Right.
Okay, we didn't score a touchdown. Big deals. First, terrible.
And also, too, like if we're going to go for it, I need a play where it's like you're guaranteeing me that this is like a walk-in, right? Like that we are going to score on this play, not just some rinky-dink BS thing. But, like you were mentioning for Drake May, 17 to 29, 268, a touchdown, interception. He had the 2 fumbles. One was recovered by the Patriots, so they survived one of them. And the sacks, honestly, I think the 2 fumbles, or at least the one by Odafe Oweh, he was kind of protected on a lot of plays where I just think in those 2 cases, he kind of just fell asleep at the wheel, waiting for a big play to happen and just kind of didn't quite feel that the pressure was around in the same way he did. But then he had a few other plays where he did a great job moving, especially his touchdown pass to Hunter Henry was absolutely beautiful. And you're right, his athleticism was really great. But you definitely could see just the difference in Drake May and his ability and their offense and their structure and what they're able to do, because the Chargers played great. I thought Jesse Minter had a really good game plan for them, but they could only hold on for so long in this matchup. And ultimately Josh McDaniels and Drake May are gonna win some of these.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff. Yep. Good. I was surprised in my last little words on the game. I was surprised watching it that how New England physically was dominating the game.
Yeah.
That's what I felt, and how I not once went, oh man, okay, this is the drive that the Chargers could score, make this game close, and it could be exciting. And then after a play 2, you go, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They're getting punched and beat up every time we look at them. Why would the next time out there be different? And it wasn't. So great for New England. Got to give them more confidence. I think they're a very confident team anyway. They're extremely well coached. And Mike Vrabel, boy, all I can say is great job by him.
Yeah.
And it is true. I'll repeat what I've said when I met him the last time in Tennessee and was doing one of their games. I said something, I don't even know what I said to him. And he says, the most important thing is your relationship with the players.
Yeah.
Not my X's and O's or the X's and O's. That's what he said. That's what I thought when I became a coach. Now I realize it's about connecting to the players to get the best out of them. And I'd say he's done a pretty good job of that.
I would say that he's done a very good job of that. And Milton Williams absolutely coming up clutch late in football games, being super disruptive. Guys like Chase on play phenomenal. Jack Gibbons, Spillane, right? Christian Gonzalez was fantastic. Hopefully he's not too banged up, right? He left the game with a head injury there. Wasn't listed as a concussion, but, I don't know. It was one of those weird Tua things again. But still just the group that they brought in free agency, even Carlton Davis, right? So a group of guys that were, quote unquote, maybe role players on other teams that had superstars. And now they're having an opportunity to kind of be their own superstars with this football team. And just look like a bunch of pissed off Mike Vrabels running around. And that's what's really cool about this team, right? I mean, it's pretty awesome. It really is.
It was great. Good for them.
Who do they got relentless.
Who do they play now? I haven't even looked ahead. Are we still waiting?
They're going to play the winner of tonight's game.
They play the winner of tonight's game. Well, that'll be interesting. Yes.
Yep. So that's the one that we're waiting on. No more games at Highmark Stadium, the Bills Stadium. That's over now, right? The Patriots advanced. So we'll see now what happens going forward with tonight's matchup. Let's go to the last game that we're going to break down here, big guy, and that's the San Francisco 49ers defeating the defending Super Bowl champion, the Philadelphia Eagles, 23-19 in Philadelphia. George Kittle, torn Achilles. Devastating. Again, this San Francisco 49ers team in general, just injury-ridden, banged up all over the place, couldn't run the football effectively with Christian McCaffrey, and yet still they win the damn game on the road. Brock Purdy, 18-31, 262, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was only sacked 1 time in this football game. Jalen Hurts, 20 of 35, 168, and a touchdown, was also sacked just 1 time in this football game. Saquon Barkley in the rushing attack, pretty good day, 26 for 106. And it seemed like at times in this game, too, that they really were moving it extremely well on the ground, but just fell short again, for this team. The game and just the Philadelphia Eagles, this game, it was a micro of their entire season. Moments where you're like, man, they're really impressive. Moments where it's like, damn, they're just average. And then, a little bit in between with some drama mixed in there, like Philadelphia always does.
Yeah, well, that and really the coaching, execution, and everything that we see from the 49ers. They drew up some really good plays. Of course, the one pass to Christian McCaffrey down the field for a 29-yard touchdown catch. That was amazing at the time of the game, and it just went, oh my, because I kind of watched the game going, man, the 49ers are hanging in there, but they can't win.
Right.
And that play, I went, uh-oh, here we go.
When they scored on that, I agree with you, because I would say that, like, man, this has been rough. And Brock Purdy at that time, I felt like he only had his first interception. So I was like, man, Brock's surviving. I was like, but it's a lot of hard work. And then when Juwan Jennings hit Christian McCaffrey down that sideline, that's what I was like, all right, 49ers are going to win this football game.
That was a really good throw by a guy. It's not a quarterback, and I don't care. It was I thought, oh, he looked like whatever. And then I saw the replay. I go, wow, what a play and what execution that they had. And it took all that to get it done. My thing about the Eagles is this. There's going to be some changes. We know that. But I just wrote down the team should be better. It's amazing. You look at it, and you hear me say it almost every time we talk about them. Look at that damn roster. Yeah. How could it be where you're not going out there and really just owning other teams more and more? Because to me, when I look at them, I can't find the weakness. I really can't. It might be the coaching, but they gave up 361 yards. That's on defense, which again, we got linebackers, we got cover guys, we got defensive linemen, but we give them 360 yards. And two, on offense, they're a power team. They don't do it.
Right.
It's just, I keep looking at them, and I talked about them. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they went to the Super Bowl. Said this last week to you. Yeah. Because I just figured they might line up now, and they got it. Saquon Barkley, the old line's they're just going to maul some people and make it easier for the quarterback and the receivers. And, well, all that didn't work. And it really is. I kept waiting all year. It's going to happen. And it looked like it was starting to come to fruition late in the year. But it didn't show in this game. Mm-hmm. And then, and your brother talked about this, but he's right. There's the last play of the game to decide the season's going to keep going or over. And then go 4 verticals. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Super.
And it's difficult. It's not one of the things they do a lot of. If that was like your number one.
And in order to complete it, Jalen Hurts has to anticipate the throw and throw it over the middle before he's actually open. And we just know that's not his game either. No. Right? That's just not what he does. You can see how uncomfortable he is when he has to throw the football over the middle, when he even has to make a real decision and throw. And not to say that he doesn't make real decisions, but let's just face it, it's different. It's different. So, that's where I just think that for the Eagles, all of their stuff caught up to them, right? The offensive line being banged up throughout the season, of course, right? Not relying on the tush push in every single short yardage situation, right? To get first downs or to get touchdowns. Their inability to just be really good at running the football, right? And I think, again, it goes to like, hey, last year when they were Super Bowl champions, the New Orleans Saints offense was pretty good here towards the end of the season, wasn't it? With Tyler Shuck, the rookie quarterback, and all that. It's like, yeah, well, Kellen Moore has a lot more experience at calling plays and a lot more failures where he's learned from those mistakes and those things and has changed his style and learned and grown, right? And Kevin Patullo, unfortunately, been an assistant for a long time, but just it's different when you're calling it and designing it and structuring it and when to choreograph it. And we could see again that just like was not clicking offensively for them. And all that being said, if A.J. Brown catches the in cut over the middle, maybe they win the damn game, because if he catches that one, there's a potential that he's running out the back door and maybe breaking a tackle and running for a 60-yard touchdown. I mean, it just is one of those plays where if they hit it, it changes kind of everything about their day.
Yeah, we don't know what goes on down there. And Kevin Patullo, he takes a lot of grief.
Yeah.
But is it him? How's he being directed by the head coach, the quarterback, and everybody on the team?
Yeah, that's a
I
great
got a
point.
feeling he's the one. He's like, hey, I got a lot of stuff here. And he goes, oh, let me put my hands behind me because you're going to handcuff me.
Yeah, no,
Don't,
I
don't
agree.
do this. Don't
There's
do
definitely
that.
a part of like him where he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, I think, with the head coach and the quarterback and what they're trying to do and and people pleasing, and that's the thing. That's what I think ultimately kind of got the Eagles. It wasn't about winning. It was about like, oh, let's put out this fire over here to make sure this person's cool and this person's cool. And they're like, no, that's just what we do in Philly. That's how we motivate each other. And it's like, that's great, but you don't have Jason Kelsey anymore as a leader. You don't have Brandon Graham in the locker room, right, leading your football team and being a force like that the same way. That's the reason why they wanted to bring back Brandon Graham, right? I think to get some leadership and just responsibility in that locker room. So you got a team that's won a Super Bowl, no doubt, but there is still a lot of youth. And I feel like just the player-led aspect of this team kind of lost its true north as the season progressed.
Yeah, we don't know and all that, but every team that has great success and wins Super Bowl, there's always 2 to 3 guys on the team that keep the order and make sure it's leading and going the right way.
Right.
And that's my experience. We had guys that was their job almost to make sure everything's going the right way, everybody has the right attitude, and there's no disruptions. And they reported to the head coach to let them know what was going on.
Right.
But, the Eagles, I don't know what else to say. I got to give a lot of credit to the 49ers.
Yeah.
The way they played, the score to Christian McCaffrey, what was it, a 4-yard pass?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole design of that. I saw it on TV this morning. I had it written down. And maybe your brother did it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he did. But it was so well designed because they had set it up with other plays.
Right.
And man, and I'll give Brock Purdy a lot of credit because you could have panicked in the pocket on that throw, but he moved up just a little bit, made that little short throw. Really a great job by him. And too, what's really kind of cool, not cool, but I'm glad this year, you don't hear people on TV just giving us the Brock Purdy thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Right.
A guy that's not that tall, whatever, but he can get it done in the pocket. And the 49ers are great at moving the pocket just a little bit, both sides, whatever. And it's, I thought he played really well. And I thought it was a great game plan by the 49ers on both sides of the ball. Yeah. So Robert Saleh, man, the one thing he can do, he can coach defense and he can bring some energy. And the only thing he doesn't like, he wants to go out there and try to hit somebody too. I'd say, hey, Robert, those days are over, baby. Get out there and get hit once, and you'll say, yeah, I made a big mistake. But
I don't know. He looks a little more juiced up than even when he was with the Giants. I mean, with the Jets, I will say that. It looks like he's, he has a different offseason protocol than when he was with the Jets.
Well, he's not worried about the whole team.
That's right. That's right. That's what happens. Yeah, the Jets,
Yeah.
They help you lose weight, just not the type of weight you want. And Demarcus Robinson played extremely well, especially early on in this football game. It seemed like he was just unguardable, right? Just doing a great job of creating opportunities for him. I think Kyle Juszczyk came up clutch, especially when George Kittle went out. He got involved in the passing game. And that's what's, I think, special about this coaching job by the 49ers and the difference between them and maybe a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, who, they got every excuse in the world of like our injuries and what we've done here and there, but they found a lot of ways to help their team get victory. And a lot of that was, hey, the reverse pass, that's how you help a team, get some breathing room. The designs there for Brock Purdy and, his ability to be strong in the pocket, I think, is the biggest thing that gets overlooked and why it is so important, the measurable aspect of it. I don't know what the width of his quads are, but I'm just telling you, they're about the same as Saquon Barkley, it seems.
They're
like.
close,
So,
yes.
It's just like, so those things, right, those measurables of just being strong and physical. I think his arm strength got a little exposed with the wind at times, right, where he threw a football. I think the deep cross to Tongas is a great example of that. Quinyon Mitchell is kind of playing in the back hip. When Brock Purdy threw the football, I thought, like watching it, he was like, oh, he layered it perfect. And then, of course, like as the wind kind of hits it, it kind of dies and drifts back a little bit. So I think that's one of those throws when he threw it, he was like, good ball. Oh, man, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
believe I just threw that pick.
Yeah.
But, other than that, he played awesome. Tough as hell, as always. Moving up in the pocket on that play design at the end there was great. And, yeah, Nakobe Dean has the best pass-catching running back running full speed to the front pylon. So what is he going to do? Yeah, he's going to shit his pants, and he's going to run full speed to the front pylon. And then Christian McCaffrey puts the brakes on, cuts in front of him, and it's just like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah.
Right? So that just shows you just the preparation and the taking advantage of angles and players' responsibilities and helping your quarterback be successful.
Good point. My last point is this, really good point. The fact that we go, well, this team had a lot of injury. This team, the 49ers had a lot of injuries. I don't know if anybody can be more hurt as a team than them.
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't talk about it. And not for some reason.
I actually think they love it in a lot of ways. It's like, it's kind of like their weird thing that's just kind of bringing them even closer together as a team.
Yeah. Yeah, more guys got to step up, and the coaches, they have to do it too. They can't go, oh, we got injuries, let's be really basic. No, we got injuries. Well, let's really get it going.
See, like, I think that excites them. I think that they're like, you're right. Like, it's like, we got injuries. All right, well, hey, I don't know. I'm thinking about this double pass here. What do you think? Hey, let's put 5 of them in, like, that's what I think is pretty cool, about what they're doing, is that, like, this is creating an opportunity for them to say, everybody knows that we're banged up. We got to level the playing field, and let's just let it go. Let's just let it fly.
Well, I know this. If Kyle Shanahan was a free agent, man, I can't even imagine. He would be shattering records for payment to a head coach in the NFL. But what a job he's done. Robert Saleh, great job. And all their big-time players, they all stepped up big time. We'll see what happens now going to Seattle.
Yeah.
Man, that's Philadelphia, then Seattle. I mean, God almighty, you just played Seattle. But this will be interesting.
Yeah, this is different.
If they're not motivated after getting worn out by them, that's going to be a big part of the game.
Yeah,
what just happened, and it scares you. And if it scares you, then you're going to really be in tune to what you want to do, I think.
Yeah. Now the biggest difference is that I know everyone was like, well, the Eagles roster and all that. And I agree. It's a good roster. There's no doubt. The Seahawks are the more talented defense in every level, right? Okay. Every level. Secondary, linebacker, D-line, they just are. They're the better overall group. We just don't look at them in that same light yet. And then the scheme on top of it with McDonald, that's what's interesting too, because he is willing to say F it and get after them, right? Whereas I feel like Vic Fangio is kind of like, he wants to play a little bit more of a style that's more conservative, right? Because it works for him. He lets his guys just kind of overpower and win one-on-one matchups and all that. But McDonald's going to be like, yeah, I know he's wide open, but we're going to get the quarterback on the ground, so it doesn't matter, So I think that's going to be an interesting thing for the 49ers to navigate with all their injuries now and trying to find ways to create some space, because that was the biggest issue just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not excited yet. I'm going to try to lay low for a few days and slowly build this thing up and get ready for the weekend. Yeah. It's going to be another good weekend. And then, of course, when the weekend's over, we got the national championship, which I love. And real quick. So how did you think Fernando Mendoza threw the ball this past week?
I just listen, the guy is putting literally just a dissertation to the whole country of like, this is how you make quick decisions and throw the football with accuracy and conviction. And just like, even when it's well covered, you still just throw it to where no one else can make the damn play. I mean, it's surgical, man. It really is.
Yeah. And the thing is, and me, I'm always griping and bitching about something. But his arm, I don't know about his arm. What are you looking at if you don't know about his arm? In fact, I don't even want to talk to you, because if you're saying that, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
I agree.
And that's for all the evaluators that I hear on TV. Hey, come on. This arm is the best.
You know what the truth is people they just don't like the person. There's something about the person they don't feel comfortable. I said this to you the other day. Yeah. Fernando Mendoza is the Jack Ryan of football. Right. you love him because he'll do everything for his country. And then there's the other guys who are like, yeah, he's a little bit of a Boy Scout, not my kind of guy. He doesn't play the game, And it's just like, I love it. I love it. He is awesome. Even Mel Kiper, oh, I need to see another game. And it's like, if you needed to see another game, then I don't know. I don't know what the hell you're looking at, man. It's pretty obvious just how easy the fact that he makes it look easy, right, should not be why we punish him. Okay. All right. Because it's not like it's not Kyle Shanahan's offense, even though the guy has the same last name, even though he is a Shanahan. It's not the same Shanahan.
That's right.
All right. But it's not like it's a wide and fade and a stop route and Mendoza just fire it in there. Right. It's not like they're doing some earth-shattering things. His level of just difficulty for his throws is extremely high.
Well, and I'm gonna be quick with this, but yeah, they're still there. Well, if he has a bad game, he just can't win the big game. And then you're right. What do you have to see throwing the ball that he hasn't done all year? That's another one. And there was an article with 8 players, ex big time college quarterbacks who didn't get it done in the NFL, and they're talking about it. And they acted like Mendoza, and it was always.
They're just jealous. They really are. They're just jealous that he's that locked in at the age that he is at this point in his career. To me, this is the most locked in we've ever seen a quarterback in college football since Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers.
It's good way to do it. You're right.
That's how I feel. This dude is on a heater, and he is mentally, emotionally, and physically just so into it right now, and he's an unstoppable force, and I really just can't wait to see it against Miami, because this is gonna be another type of management game.
As I say all that, then it was the more contingent. I don't know, and I just go, what are you looking at that? Why you would really? Oh, I'm not saying it's like the widest margin in the world, but it's to me, it's very conclusive. Yeah, and they go through all these things. Well, go back and look at Oregon when they played who they beat? Oh my God.
Sorry. That's all right.
Who did they beat in the playoff game before Indiana?
James Madison.
No, that was their first game. The second one was,
the second one was against Texas Tech,
Texas Tech. Well, just watch that.
Well, honestly, he didn't play that great against James Madison. Made a few sketchy throws in that game too. Right. Did not play well against Texas Tech, right? And again against Indiana. And the thing is too, is just very similar, right? As the game progresses, you could just see that there's no moment where he does settle into the game, even though there were opportunities to hit completions and to kind of just march the ball forward. So, for Dante Moore, I think he's a hell of a football player, but I still think that he's in development, right? And he can come out and he can be a top 10 pick. There's no doubt about it, because I do think that he is that talented. And I do think that he has a super bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if I was in his camp, if I would advise him to do that, because, yes, there is a risk going back to school, but there is a risk of going to the NFL and, being canceled out before your career even gets started too. So it's a fine line there. And of course, with his offensive coordinator leaving, that would also, I think, affect kind of his choice going forward. Right.
Good point. Will Stein, who very well, he'll do a great job in Kentucky. And if you're a quarterback, go to Kentucky now. Okay. It's not three running plays in a cloud of dust, which it has been for a long time. You got a guy that's going to throw the ball, and the quarterback's going to have success.
Right.
And you're right. Dante Moore, I like him. And if he's a top 10 pick, which, I don't know that yet, and just not going to look into it. But I think if you think you're going to be a top 10 pick, you feel really confident about it, then, Matt, you got to come out. There's just too many variables on the other side. And he could use a year with his body, just another year to play. I think we've found out, and everybody agrees universally now, you need to play a lot of football as a quarterback before you come to the NFL. That's the easiest way to adjust to the NFL. So we'll see. Nothing against him. I guess I'm just arguing for the fact that so many people discount Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
So, and I don't.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it is. I really don't know what it is, other than the fact that just, people just, they get insecure when they see how authentic he is and how sure of himself he is, and it almost, I feel like it raises questions of the people that are critical of him more so than of him. But either way.
Yeah. No, no. My last thing is, look, the University of Miami. That's who they're going to play. And I would say, if I had to guess, whatever. Look, this won't be pretty. You
Yeah.
know, this is a whole different one. Now he's playing a team that does have NFL talent up front, and
Well, that's what they said about the Ohio State game too.
Yeah, that's true too.
And he got his head knocked off like the third play of the game at Ohio State, and still made the 5 or 6 plays that they needed to win the football game. So it's interesting, but I agree with you. This is really this is old school. This is old school versus new school, and for Indiana, especially too with this matchup, I love how this turned into a college football show.
Yeah, that's all right. We had to I had to get it off my chest a little
but
bit.
No surprise, right, that the 2 teams are in the national championship are the 2 teams that are playing most like NFL football teams.
Good
Big
point.
and strong in the trenches on both offensive and defensive fronts. They run the football effectively. They're patient running the football, and their quarterbacks are doing a great job of just making some big time aggressive throws in critical moments with a high level of difficulty. And, no surprise either that the 2 big, strong quarterbacks with an aggressive running attack, right, are making these big time throws down the field. So just another indicator of why, playing that brand of football is so successful no matter what level it is.
No doubt. All right, man. Good stuff. Good thing.
All right, man. Hey.
Yep.
An hour and 11 minutes.
That's overtime. I want to pay.
You got it. You got it, Phil. All right.
Okay. Good.
Sending your pay right now. That's all we got for Sims Complete, a part of the Believe Sports Network, sponsored by FanDuel. He's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims. We'll be back for more action leading up into the divisional round for this weekend's matchups, and maybe a little bit of a college football championship preview as well, since we're so pumped about it. So that's all we got for Sims Complete. He's Phil. I'm Matt. We'll see you next time.